Let's cut through the bullshit. What is the real, tangible advantage of the INFJ's introverted intuition? Not the poetic version, the practical, real-world, rock-solid version. Because your mind isn't just deep, it's not simply creative, and it's definitely not just empathetic. Your mind runs on a cognitive function that most people don't even know how to operate, a hidden vision channel that takes scattered data, fragmented experiences, subtle emotional cues, and the entire energetic atmosphere around you, and turns it into a clear internal picture of what's true, what's coming, and what the hell is actually going on beneath the surface. You don't just guess motives, you see them. You don't just sense outcomes, you predict them. You don't just feel the energy in the room, you decode it. But here's the painful, frustrating irony. Most INFJs spend years doubting their own damn superpower. You second-guess your intuition. You fear your insights are too much. You tone yourself down so you don't freak people out. You pretend you didn't see the truth you saw instantly. You question what your mind already knows, and why. Because no one ever taught you how to trust the way your brain works. Because people misunderstand intuition. Because every time you saw something before it happened, others called it coincidence or overthinking. Because you've been conditioned to trust the external world more than your internal one. But this video, this journey, isn't about what overwhelms you as an INFJ. It's not about the empathy. It's not about the sensitivity. It's not about the overstimulation. This is about the power you've been sitting on your entire life, the internal navigation system you've ignored, the cognitive technology no one explained to you. The knowing you keep trying to bury under logic because you're afraid of being wrong, being intense, being weird, being too much. My INFJ friend, you're not too much. You're underutilized. Your intuition isn't a vibe. It's a system. It's a mechanism. It's a psychic-level processing unit the world doesn't teach you how to use. But by the end of this script, you will understand. What introverted intuition actually is, why you doubt it, how to trust its guidance, how to turn it from anxiety into clarity, how to use it to navigate the material world with spiritual precision. This is not a motivational speech. This is not a poetic ode. This is a manual for your mind. And before we open the first section, I want to invite you, yes, you, to be part of this with me. INFJ friend, I would love to hear your thoughts throughout this. Tell me your experiences, your stories, the moments your intuition screamed the truth before reality caught up. Drop them in the comments. I read and reply to every single one. Now take a breath. Settle in. Let's unlock the channel you've spent your whole life suppressing. 1. Moving from sensory doubt to visionary clarity. Your intuition is your primary function, but the world raised you to trust your senses instead. From childhood, you were taught, be realistic. Stick to facts. Prove it. How do you know that? You're overthinking, you're imagining things, so you learn to question your inner sight. You learn to slow it down, mute it, doubt it, apologize for it, shrink it so you didn't scare people with how quickly you understand things. But here's the truth. INFJs don't think from the external world inward. We think from the internal world outward. Most people start with what they see. INFJs start with what they sense. And that creates a lifelong tug-of-war, your mind. This is what's really happening, your senses. But I don't have proof yet. The world, you're imagining things, your intuition. For the love of God, trust me. Sensory doubt becomes your cage. Perceptual clarity becomes your key. But clarity doesn't come from information. It comes from alignment, from trusting your internal compass, even when no one else sees the forest fire you smelled miles before the smoke appeared. So let me ask you the kind of question that cracks the floorboards. How many disasters could you have avoided? You trusted your intuition the first damn time? And how many heartbreaks? How many energy vampires? How many fake friends you had a feeling about from day one? How many opportunities you didn't take because your logical mind overrode your inner knowing? Your clarity has always been there, whispering, nudging, tugging at your ribs. It's time to move from, I might be wrong, to I know what I know. Tell me, when was the first time your intuition saved you? Share it, I want to hear it. 2. How introverted intuition reveals motives, outcomes, and truth. Introverted intuition doesn't operate like a thought. It operates like a download. You don't figure things out, you receive them. It's not a guess. It's not a hunch, it's not imagination. It's pattern recognition on a spiritual frequency. INFJ intuition pulls from micro expressions, tone shifts, energetic inconsistencies, emotional leakage, behavioral patterns, symbolic parallels, future probabilities, unconscious motives, archetypal psychology, somatic reactions, spiritual resonance. While someone is still telling their story, your intuition already sees the underlying motive, the emotional wound, and the likely outcome. You don't just see who they are, you see why they are. This is why people feel exposed around you. This is why you make narcissists sweat. This is why manipulators hate you. This is why emotionally dishonest people avoid you. This is why deeply wounded souls open up to you within minutes. You see through people like stained glass. But here's the part most INFJs don't admit out loud. Sometimes your intuition scares the hell out of you. Because it's fast. Because it's accurate. Because it reveals truths you didn't ask for. Because it shows you outcomes long before they unfold. And because you're so damn polite, you pretend you don't know what you know. Let me twist the knife a little deeper. How many times have you gaslit yourself because your intuition saw something too soon for the world to confirm? Yeah, exactly. Tell me in the comments, what's a truth you sensed long before anyone believed you? 3. The moment you stop trying to see and start trusting your sight. There's a moment in every INFJ's life. Maybe it happened for you already. Maybe it's happening right now, when intuition stops being something you try to use and becomes something you finally allow. This moment usually arrives right after you hit emotional burnout from doubting yourself for too long. Because the enemy of your intuition isn't confusion, it's self-doubt. It's that internal critic that keeps whispering, you're imagining things. You're too dramatic. You're too intense. You're reading too much into it. You're probably wrong. Don't say anything. You'll sound crazy. That voice, that internal saboteur, is the biggest block to your introverted intuition. And INFJs have one of the harshest inner critics of any personality type. Because you don't just think, you analyze. You don't just feel, you dissect. You don't just observe, you hyper-process. Your mind becomes a battlefield between what you know and what you fear you're not allowed to know. But here's the truth most INFJs don't hear enough. You don't need to develop your intuition. You need to stop arguing with it. And this is exactly why I'm mentioning this now, because your inner critic and your intuition are in constant war. If that internal voice resonates, the one that drags you down, doubts your insight, and makes you question your own inner clarity, I wrote something for you. A book? For INFJs, for intuitives, for the quiet warriors who think too much and trust themselves too little. It's called Get Out of Your Head, and it dives straight into silencing the inner critic, breaking self-limiting beliefs, overcoming fear, rewiring the mind, anchoring into inner clarity, stepping into your real potential. It's available on Amazon in paperback, Kindle, and audiobook. Get your copy now. The link is available in the description below. Because when you silence the inner critic, your intuition doesn't whisper anymore. It speaks like a damn oracle. So answer me, INFJ friend, what does your inner critic usually tell you? And what truth is it blocking you from seeing? Tell me below. I read every comment. 4. From feeling misunderstood to being unshakably clear. Being misunderstood is the INFJ's lifelong wound. You explain yourself, people misinterpret. You stay quiet, they assume things. You predict something, they doubt you. You offer insight, they call it overthinking. You speak truth, they get uncomfortable. And eventually you start shrinking your voice, because you're tired of explaining a mind the world doesn't know how to hold. But here's the shift. Once you trust your vision channel, misunderstandings don't sting the same way. You stop needing validation. You stop craving external confirmation. You stop trying to prove your insight. You stop apologizing for knowing what you know. Because clarity doesn't need witnesses. Truth doesn't need applause. Intuition doesn't need approval. Your confidence becomes internal. Your certainty becomes quiet and steady. Your presence becomes centered and grounded. And that's when everything changes. The right people stop feeling intimidated. They start feeling guided. The wrong people stop sticking around. They fall away because they can't survive the intensity of your clarity. And you? You stop begging to be understood and start living from the truth you've always carried inside your ribs. So tell me, when was the moment you realized someone was misunderstanding you on a fundamental level? Share that story. I'm here. 5. How to navigate the material world with the awareness of your higher self. This is the part no one talks about. Introverted intuition is not just a cognitive function, it's a spiritual instrument. When you use it correctly, you begin navigating the physical world from a higher vantage point. You stop reacting and start sensing. You stop chasing and start aligning. You stop forcing and start following the internal current. Life becomes less about effort and more about resonance. You begin to feel what opportunities are meant for you. What relationships are aligned with your soul? What paths lead to growth? What warnings you must not ignore? What seasons you're entering? What lessons you're ready for? What cycles are ending? What your future self is calling you toward the material world becomes a map. Your intuition becomes the compass. Your higher self becomes the navigator. This is the infj's true power, moving through the world like someone who's already seen the path. And the more you trust that internal sight, the less you get lost in noise, distraction, or emotional chaos. So let me ask you, if your higher self could say one thing to you right now, what would it be? Write it in the comments. I want to know. So here we are, INFJ friend, back at the beginning. Back to the question that started everything. What is the real, tangible advantage of the INFJ's introverted intuition? Now, it's not mysticism, it's not fantasy. It's not some poetic eccentricity people romanticize on Pinterest. It's your internal navigation system, your truth detector, your motive reader, your pattern decoder, your energy interpreter, your spiritual compass, your psychological X-ray vision, your silent, unwavering, holy clarity. And when you stop doubting it, when you stop fighting it, when you silence the inner critic and listen to the inner knowing, you become the version of yourself you were always meant to be, grounded, clear, unshakable, aligned, awake. You begin to trust your sight. Not your eyes, your sight, and everything changes. Not because the world becomes easier, but because you're no longer navigating it blind. So before you leave this journey, let me ask you the final question. Not a stab, not a wound, but a soft, awakening whisper. What are you finally ready to trust in yourself? Write it below, I'll read it, I'll respond. Your story matters more than you realize. And if this journey felt like home, if this script felt like someone finally articulated the way your mind works, then subscribe, share your insights, and stay close. Because there is more to unlock within you. Much more: symbolic parallels, future probabilities, unconscious motives, archetypal psychology, somatic reactions, spiritual resonance. While someone is still telling their story, your intuition already sees the underlying motive, the emotional wound, and the likely outcome. You don't just see who they are. You see why they are. This is why people feel exposed around you. This is why you make narcissists sweat. This is why manipulators hate you. This is why emotionally dishonest people avoid you. This is why deeply wounded souls open up to you within minutes. You see through people like stained glass. But here's the part most INFJs don't admit out loud. Sometimes your intuition scares the hell out of you because it's fast, because it's accurate, because it reveals truths you didn't ask for, because it shows you outcomes long before they unfold. And because you're so damn polite, you pretend you don't know what you know? Let me twist the knife a little deeper. How many times have you gaslit yourself because your intuition saw something too soon for the world to confirm? Yeah, exactly. Tell me in the comments, what's a truth you sensed long before anyone believed you?